welcome back to the Kings, Queens, and everything in between to another episode of the Peasant Party Podcast. I'm your host, Charlotte Lauren. To my right is...
Hi, I'm Annabelle. I'm the co-host sometimes.
Yes, and you are so good at it. I do want to say a nice congratulations to our editor, Eric, and his lovely wife, Bianca. You can find their episode. They are expecting a child. So I want to say congratulations to sound guy Eric. But yeah, listen to Eric's episode. He and his wife, Bianca's relationship is just so sweet. And I'm just so happy for them.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, let's jump back to you, though, before we go into things.
Charlotte just told me some influencer tea.
Yeah, I got a really, what I thought was a very lucrative brand deal. Like, this was probably like 3 times the amount anything I've ever been offered. For like, if you break up the amount of work, it's kind of like, okay, like it ends up being like $300-$400 a video, which is pretty normal, but for 30 days. And I have a wedding I'm paying for.
Yeah.
And so I was so bummed. It was like this, everything about it was legit. I really do think it was like a someone who counted their chickens before they hatched, like someone who thought they had an investment.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I won't drop, just in case there's something still going there. I don't know. But yeah, that was it's always fun to get those. It kicks you down a few notches and makes you a little less enthusiastic for this little content game.
Yeah.
However you want.
I mean, it does give me like an appreciation for it because it's got to be so hard to navigate.
It's so inconsistent.
It's so inconsistent and then unreliable. There's a contract and then they ghost and the company is gone. Yeah. And like, you know, how many people are getting screwed over by that? And finding the jobs in the first place.
Yeah. The story is I signed a contract for this and everything. I was offered a very lucrative it was like a 30-day campaign. I will say it was, I've never had anything break the 4-figure mark. This was a 5-figure deal, which is big for someone like me. But yeah, it would have paid for a good chunk of the wedding. I was really excited about it. I liked what they were doing. It seemed like a good, it wasn't a dating app. It was a matchmaking company. But yeah, like I did the first rounds of videos. I was waiting for their approval. And then did not hear anything. When I followed up, the email bounced. It said this is no longer an active email address. It appears to be a legitimate company. I just think it was somebody who thought they had an investor or something. I don't know. They were based in England. It's the fucking British people again. Which is why we're celebrating the 4th of July, which is why
untrustworthy.
Nothing good happens in England, respectfully. Sorry.
Oh my God.
The 4th of July is on Friday.
The 4th of July is on Friday. That's right.
How are you celebrating Independence Day? The original No Kings rally, by the way.
It is. Oh yeah, it is.
No kings.
That's so true, isn't it?
Regardless of how you feel or what you consider a king, I don't like kings.
Yeah,
I think tea is stupid.
King, straight
tea
up.
Is stupid. It's a stupid drink. We should drink coffee.
Okay, well,
it's called soccer, and even then, it's not that good of a sport.
Football.
I play football. Look at me and play football. Tea and crumpets. Chip, chip, toodle pip. My fizzy wickets. What the Hogwarts house?
Wow, you're pretty good at that. Damn.
I know. I'm good at being a British person. I sound like it.
Yeah, you sound just like one.
Anyway, that's enough British people slander. What is new with you?
What is new with me? Nothing. I don't know. I've been just trying to do as much as I can this summer. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you, just talking about all of this, like getting brand deals and stuff, do you manifest, or is that too woo-woo for you? Like, will you write something down as if you already have it?
No.
Write it down.
No, that's called counting your chickens before they hatch. I tell myself I would like this thing, and I go ask for it. But
you have to say, goddesses, I'm so grateful that I already have $1 million.
I feel like
and then you repeat it to yourself in the mirror.
That feels a little presumptive, and being presumptive is a theme of this episode.
No, it's magic.
But if it doesn't, then the downfall is
magic. But it does. That's the thing. That's what manifesting is. That
there are no guarantees in life.
Hey, if you don't succeed at manifesting, it's because you didn't manifest hard enough.
God, what was it? The skinny confidential chick was saying that about like fertility. Her and her husband that looks like Jimmy Neutron. They live in Austin.
Oh, nice.
They're so freaking annoying.
What was it like? Oh, if something bad happens.
No, but it was something like, it's like, you don't tell that to women who struggle with fertility, that they just, like, if they manifest, it'll happen. Like, I mean, yes, I think there is some element, but I think it's also just, this is a selection bias thing of like, the second you, just like when people say, the second you stop trying to find a boyfriend, the second you stop trying, all of a sudden something happens. I think there could be some, I don't know if it's correlation or causation or just you stop, I don't know, stressing too much or something, but there are some people who can't have children, and it is not about manifesting and hoping. And
you can't manifest like recovering from cancer or whatever. You can't manifest. But opportunities to grow and greatness and like receiving everything that you want.
You know, the best way that I have realized to get things you want is you ask for it. Most people are really bad at asking for things they want.
Damn.
Like, I think we talked, it was the episode that Rudy was on with us, where it was rejection therapy. And the concept of it is every day you ask someone for a ridiculous thing that you assume they will reject you for. With the idea that like you just get used to being told no. And it's just not a big deal when you're told no. But the big funny thing that happens when people do rejection therapy is how frequently people say yes to these crazy things you ask them for. Like you can find TikToks of people doing it.
Is that ethical? Sometimes I feel like sometimes
you usually
people
do it for harmless stuff. You go to a Mexican restaurant, you see a sombrero on the wall, you ask your server, "Can I wear the sombrero?" That's a funny TikTok I've seen where it's someone doing it, and then he says yes, and he's like, now he has to wear the sombrero while he eats. But when we last talked about rejection therapy, you know what happened? I asked Damien, what's his face? Damien A., who is the producer of the Terrifier movies. I asked him if we could be in Terrifier 3. It was crazy. I was like, can we be in Terrifier 3? And he's like, we can't give you parts, but when the movie comes out, we'd be happy to have some of our actors be on a podcast episode. We need to follow up with them. But that's the thing that happened. But you ask for crazy stuff. Like the amount of times I've just been like, can I have this thing? And just some people are like, I didn't think I could ask for it. Like, that's what's helped me, asking for things, just asking. Can I have it?
Yeah.
Can I do it? Like,
you just walk in. You just walk in.
It looks like I see that you need some help. I could be the person to help you do it. So that's how I get what I want.
That's true. So I guess maybe that would be confidence, right? Like if you maybe manifesting and being like, oh, I already have it, gives you the confidence to then achieve it.
I think there are things that work for some people that don't work for others related to how you get what you want.
Yeah.
The manifesting thing just had me counting chickens before they hatch and just getting disappointed. So that didn't work for me. What did was just asking. So some people are a manifester people. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't do the attachment styles really, but I'm sure like if we wanted to make our own buzzwords, maybe we could get famous off of this and become like big fancy people is like, how do you get what you want? And we'll just come up with some boxes, and some of them are people who ask and some are manifestors, and we'll make up a few buzzwords and then maybe
come
we'll
up with
a
little grift
between the two of us. Enough people are grifting already. Like
no, that's not a valid reason. No, we can't do that. That's literally what they all say is, well, somebody else is gonna make up the scam if I don't. Hey, no.
I mean, we don't believe it's a scam. Maybe it's not a scam, and that's how a lot of scammers go through life. Anyway, I am totally off on this crazy tangent.
I know.
What else is new with you? How are you spending your 4th of July?
Well, are you watching Love Island?
No, but are you
getting a lot of Love Island content?
Yes, these 21-year-olds that look like 40-year-olds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, which I have a lot of thoughts about the discourse around. I think most of Love Island is the discourse around Love Island, right? Like most of it is people having discussions about how they collectively kind of feel and things that they point out about these people. Because like I had never seen Love Island until like 3 nights ago. I'm forcing Daniel to watch this season. He's like, this dumbass show. He's like, got this stupid ass show. But we're still watching it. I keep asking him if I can pull him for a chat. But watching the first episode, I'd never seen it before, and I was like, this show fucking sucks. It's so bad. Have you seen any episode of Love Island? Like
I've
intro,
seen like clips.
anything.
It's cheese. It's like The Bachelor's kind of cheesy. It feels like it's like The Bachelor in Paradise.
Okay.
A little bit
See, I haven't
like
really
more
seen-
over the top. Like The Bachelor, The Bachelor still has that appeal to like
Yeah.
more like, you know, Christian, all that stuff.
Yes.
But like, yeah, Love Island's just you know, they're a bit.
So is there anybody that sits there and watches it in earnest and is like, ooh, like intrigued by the dialogue? Because I feel like it's almost created to make fun of these people. They'll have the two dumbest bricks on earth speaking to each other.
That's the
and like
appeal of reality
miscommunicating
TV.
in real time. And it is, I'm like fully silent.
I mean, do you think anyone thinks that like The Real Housewives is profound, or do they watch it because it's mindless entertainment?
The Real Housewives are fascinating. They're interesting. They're bold. They're courageous. They're fashionistas. They're nothing like
gosh.
Love Island. I can't believe you would even say that.
I need to get more. Oh my gosh,
Atlanta.
I wish Bianca.
Atlanta. Real Housewives of Atlanta is the one.
I wish Bianca were here. She is our expert friend at all things reality TV. That is Eric's
Hell yeah.
Eric's
Hell
wife.
yeah.
Our editor's wife, who is just our most knowledgeable about all
She's
things
in
reality.
it. She's deep in
Oh
the
my
cut.
gosh, she knows she could pick out every single reality TV star and all of the little things.
Really?
I'm like such
connoisseur.
a weird reality TV person. I like cool concepts. I like The Traders a lot. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Which
I've
is
not-
like, yeah.
Love is Blind. I only watched one season of Love is Blind.
I like that concept a lot. I think it works in a way that gets good candidates.
Yes.
Because or contestants. Whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they let people have the phones.
Well,
they
yeah.
don't make them get time off work. Because that's the thing about The Bachelor is like they always get these just like bleh, like wannabe model candidates because they just demand
don't
so
have
much
jobs.
of their contestants.
Yeah.
And so what are you going to get? People that don't
Yeah.
have jobs, like NFL practice squad members,
Yeah.
like just people who want to be famous.
And never any alt girls, by the way. I mean, with Bachelor and Love Island. I mean, Love Island, like the whole plot of the show is that they are conventionally attractive, like good looking. But then I feel like as soon as one of them starts talking, like the attraction is instantly gone for me. It's like they pick them out of a catalog.
Yeah.
But then they show up and their personalities are like, what the fuck?
That's how I feel about a lot of them. I'm also just like these people are too young. Like I just, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get married. It's like you're 22. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But-
And it's like they speak their own language.
They do. They really do. Like, yeah,
They speak like Zoomer TikTok.
they do.
It's so funny watching them be like, I'm screaming.
It's crazy because I used to think like the contestants were like these older, mature people. Then one day they were just younger. Just like when I went to the dentist. All of a sudden, the dentists and the doctors are younger than me. I know that's the weirdest thing.
That's
Well, no,
so creepy.
not doctors are kind of close in age, but like my dentist that I went to like not too long ago, it was like, oh yeah, like I just moved here, like a dental school, and she was like, I was like, the dentists are younger than me now. Now I'm old. That is the sign I'm old. Doctors, like not quite. The physician assistants and the nurse, not nurse practitioner, maybe yeah. The physician assistants are all younger than me at this point,
Yeah.
which is mostly where I go is like both. It's all physician assistants and nurses
Yeah.
and stuff, but. Yes. Oh my gosh, we're going everywhere.
Yeah,
How are
yeah,
you
yeah.
spending your 4th of July?
Sorry. I don't know. We're gonna hang out at some point. I
Yes.
would love to go see like fireworks somewhere.
Yes.
Last year, Daniel and I just went on my parking garage roof and we watched the fireworks 360 view all over Austin, like different distances. It was so cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really.
We gotta do something.
Yeah.
We gotta.
Should we grill? Should we grill some hot dogs?
I mean, we gotta.
yeah.
Our,
go to
my
my
usual
pool.
go-to spot. Our friends are out of town this year, so that's his trip.
I know. Bummer.
Yeah. Okay. You remember being on Hinge and other dating apps, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Is it wrong on dating apps to change your location to one that you do not live in hopes of matching with people who live in that area? So I think just to go through the functionality of some of these apps, some of them are geolocator based. So you fire up, I think it's Bumble and Tinder in a city, you will be, mapped to people that are in that city in whatever mile radius around that. You can't control that. But Hinge, and I think a few others, You put in what city you live in, and then the implication is that I live here. I want to be around people who live here. It basically identifies that as your residence, and then it shows you people around you. If you do that for a city you do not live in, is that okay?
Why would anyone do that?
Well, I think people do that because I think a few reasons. Some people want to go on dates on vacation. They're on vacation and they want to go on dates or a work trip or something. Some people travel more than others and maybe don't feel like they have a home.
Cheating? Are they cheating? This sounds like cheating to me.
We'll come back to that because
that's why I'm asking.
That is why people think it's wrong a lot of times.
Yeah.
Some people do it because they regularly are in that area. So say you live in Round Rock, your office is in Austin. If you are a 25-year-old living in Round Rock and you set your radius on Hinge to a couple miles, you're going to have less people than if you put Austin. And maybe because you work in Austin, well, I'm there enough anyway. Like, I'm going to just put my city as Austin.
Okay.
Some people do it when they plan to move. Sometimes they do it when they have firm plans. Other times people do it just to take a look and decide if they want to move there or not.
Yeah.
But people do that. I've never done that because I think it is wrong.
No, I remember getting people and then they'd be like, "Oh, haha, I'm in San Antonio." And I'd be like, "I'd kill you. I'm coming right now to kill you." That's so annoying. Why waste my time? Waste of my time. You think I'm going to drive an hour and 20 minutes to go see you? Or wait an hour and 20 minutes for you to come see me and then know that the rest of the week you're an hour and 20 minutes away doing God knows what in San Antonio?
Yes. I mean, so that is an easy perspective to have when you live in the cool city that people change their location to, which has always been my perspective. Like, I've never been a person who intentionally chose to live in a boring part of a place and then was like, oh, fuck, I live in a boring place. I'm going to go just change my location, make it other people's problem. Like, I chose to live where I live, like, deal with the consequences. That's just always been my opinion. Some people feel different. I know people that will listen to this are going to feel differently, but that was always my take. I was always like, I pay the extra money to live in the cool place. Mm-hmm. I've earned it.
Yeah.
You haven't. You pay less. That means there are pros and cons to everything.
Damn.
But it always annoyed me. But when I have spoken to people who say that they do this, and they always have their excuses, a lot of times they do say, I would come to, like, I wouldn't do that if I didn't plan to come to you.
Yeah.
That's usually their excuse. However, when people do that, it's kind of annoying because then it puts the onus on you to entertain them, or if they, like, don't feel like their trip is worthwhile, it feels like it's your fault.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like probably a lot of the time it's literally just them being bored and like wanting to waste someone's time, kind of wanting to chat with someone. I feel like that's pretty common too.
Yeah.
Like men who are like, well, I just want to cast a wider net.
Yeah.
I want to go see what's up, like, but there's no real actual intention.
Yes.
Behind it. Internet games.
Yes. One thing I feel like I have noticed is that there tends to be a double standard that comes with this, is that men seem to not care when women do this. Like, I don't think any man cares when he sees, oh yeah, I'm visiting Miami on a girls trip for fun. Like, I decided to, like, maybe I'll go on a date when I'm here. No man gets mad about that. Women get mad about that. Like, if you get like a match and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm just here on my boys trip.
Oh yeah,
that's annoying.
Yeah, men don't get mad about that. You said
no.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like they get less mad. I have seen, because it's been a while since I hate being the person who's like, I haven't been on a dating app in a minute. But I feel like I remember I would, like, when a guy would do the reveal, and that was the other annoying part too. Is like, I think if you want to do that, you need to, like, reveal it elsewhere on your profile. Specifically with Hinge, because that's the one I feel like most people use. Like, they put a little house next to the city that you say you live in.
Yes.
There is a house.
Yeah.
That means I live here.
Yes.
So unless you say otherwise, you are sending the message that I live here. And therefore, you are lying because you don't live here. Like, you should put it elsewhere in your profile. Otherwise, you're
which profile? What app are we talking about right now? Hinge. Okay.
Yes, because
what's the fucking hot rich one? Hot rich people one?
Raya. So Raya just has, like, you broaden. There's a difference between, like, extending your radius for people. And
Well,
or like
Raya
will just show you people in England for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm saying like people that like change where they live, because like people can put filters on that and say like, I don't want to talk to anybody that is X amount of miles outside of this city.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And people do that a lot to like cheat. I feel like that's so, you really are risking it, huh? You're risking the fact that somebody that knows who you are, knows who your partner is, isn't gonna see it and fucking screenshot it. I don't know. That's just so crazy. But you hear about it happening all the. I literally like 10 minutes before I walked up here, watched a TikTok about a girl who her long-term boyfriend, she found him downloading Bumble. Like it constantly.
Yeah, like it's because I think there is definitely a type of cheater that like. I mean, there's some smart cheaters out there. Is that an oxymoron? I don't know, but like. They cheat when they're out of town. They have a job that puts them out of town, and like, they don't do anything shady in their own city. Usually they get found because you kind of have to cover your tracks a little bit. Like if you're going to major cities and like saying you don't have social media, like at some point someone's going to look you up. Someone's going to find you.
Yeah.
We are in a modern era, but like I think if you were going to cheat, like put yourself outside of the radius or away from the cities that your significant other's friends would see you. Like that's just what a person would do, whether you're in that city physically yet or not. I don't know.
Haunting. That's so scary.
I also just see it like even if we think like less of like a person on vacation or just like putting themselves in an obscure city. I also always found it annoying when somebody that lived on the like further on the outskirts of a city. I feel like people in New York get this a lot with like people that are in New Jersey or like in a suburb. But that kind of thing always annoyed me because then it feels like even if they're like, I'll come to you, it sort of feels like you have to entertain them, and like if they don't have a good time, it feels like it's your fault in a way. I don't know.
Yeah. Ew. Yeah. Then you have to, and then it's like they're gonna come over and they're gonna want to stay over.
Yes, and that's where we've got an interesting listener letter. Why don't you read me that?
Okay, girl. Let's hear it. Mailbag. How much responsibility do I have for a date who has had too much to drink? I'm 27 female and had a weird thing come up on a past date that I'd love for you to weigh in on. I matched with a guy on Hinge who I realized after we started talking lived in a suburb 45 minutes outside of my city. I live downtown in a big city. I didn't think too much into it at the time, especially since he said he's regularly in my area for work, so making it his location made sense to him. He also stressed that he'd be more than happy to have our first date closer to me. So when it came to planning, we picked a spot that was a 7-minute walk to my house. He even added that he had a lot of friends in the area, so he could always go meet up with friends if we weren't feeling it. The date went well at first. We went to a wine bar, and after finishing one bottle between the two of us, he ordered another. He drank a little more of that than me, but seemed to be handling the drinks well. It was Friday, and neither of us had work the next day, so I wasn't too worried about being hungover. After we finished the second bottle, we went for a walk. All was still going well at that point, and I thought we were the same amount of buzzed. And that's where things got weird. As it started getting later, I told my date that it was probably time to call it a night, but that I had fun and we should see each other again soon. His eyes sort of bulged out of his head, and he made a weird expression, saying, "Oh." When I asked him what was wrong, he replied saying, "I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get home," saying he'd had way too much to drink to drive back at that point. When I asked if he could crash at his friends, the ones he went out of his way to mention when we planned the date, he said it was way too late in the evening to do that. When I said those were his words, he said he meant he could find something else to do earlier on the if the date was bad, not just use them as a crash pad. I asked what his other options were, and he asked, "Can I crash at your place?" insisting he'd stay on the couch and be out of my hair as soon as he'd sobered up. I asked if he was absolutely sure he couldn't call his friend, and then he tried calling just to realize that his friend was on vacation anyway. When he finally said he might be able to wing it and get myself back, I eventually caved and said that he could have the couch. As we walked back, I asked why he hadn't planned this a little bit better or told me ahead of time his only option was driving. I would have watched how much we had drank if I had known this. He said that since things were going well, he didn't think there would be any issues. Very presumptive, it says in cap.
That is very presumptive.
When we got back, I showed him the couch, giving him a blanket and pillows before going to my room and locking the door behind me. Once I was in the room, he started sending me what he probably thought were cute texts, asking if I'd be down to come and watch a movie. Then he started asking where to find certain things, thermostat, etc. And I began getting creeped out. I didn't respond to any of it. About an hour later, my roommate, male, same age, strictly platonic, came home. I heard him say hi to my date, some weird mutters, and then what sounded like someone leaving the apartment. It was my date. When I asked my roommate the next day if anything weird happened, he said the guy was on the couch, wide awake, and pretty much bolted the second he came in without saying much. I never heard from my date again, and I'm not sure if I dodged a scary bullet. But all this made me think about how rock in a hard place this all felt. I would never want to put someone in a situation where they might drink and drive, and in most situations, I'm more than happy to offer up my couch to crash on for the night to prevent this. But how much or should that change when the person is in question is a date who is practically a stranger? Girl.
What are your thoughts?
I
feel like there's a lot, like it's not just how much like
this is so
drinking, but like
yeah, so to me this is so modern, like such a modern and contemporary and veiled method of sexual manipulation and men have gotten really crafty with their like language and their actions. I feel this is my personal opinion, and this is something I think that like a lot of women can relate to, especially, you know, when you have people from all angles being like, well, why didn't you just say no? Why didn't you just stop him? Why didn't you just this, that, the other? And it's because like they come up with these little methods where there's just enough reasonable doubt that if you were plausible deniability, that if you were to be like, whoa, hey, that's not what, they'd be like, oh, you think you're so hot.
Yeah, like, whoa, you're gonna let someone drive home drunk? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And you know that they will flip it around on you right away, and they will deny everything that you're accusing them of. So that it just gets really complicated because you also, like, up to that point, you kind of are giving them the benefit of the doubt. It's a person that you've just met. Why wouldn't you? You're giving them the benefit of the doubt, and then it feels like you got. And I don't know, that it's just, it's really hard to like be on defense in these moments. It's really hard to like protect yourself in those moments. Also because they probably had a totally fine, even very good date.
Yeah.
And they've been talking and getting along. And then this is kind of sprung on her. And it's like, if you're just a decent person, you understand that rock in a hard place. Like she was saying, it's a really weird position to be in.
Oh, for sure. It feels like a fucked up version of like if you give a mouse a cookie, because it's like it feels like it's a trickle of
That's
information.
exactly what it is.
And I feel like one of the type of horror movie like tropes or concepts or like themes that gets really under my skin is like that actually creeps me out more than anything. Like, you know, fuck the, you know, satanic stuff like that doesn't scare me, ghosts, whatever. It's like the movies that like prey into that, you know, preying on people's like desire to be liked and not make people uncomfortable.
Name one.
Like it's not Your Next, Creep, where it's like hey, I'm looking for someone that's my mom's died of cancer. I'm looking for someone to film a documentary of my life.
You know, I saw him at the airport. I sat next to him and had a little
you
chat
told me
with him.
this. But like, you know, I just need someone to film the documentary. Yeah, it's gonna be a little weird. Okay, come here, like, and just slowly but surely, it's like, you know, every single step that goes by, it's like,
you know, what other
feels weird, but like, okay, like you just don't want to
yeah.
Like, they bring a lot of like morality stuff in too, where it's like
another movie. It's called Speak No Evil, and they just made an American version.
Oh my god!
But did you see like the Swedish version or whatever?
That one's more fucked up.
That is, I have like 3 top scariest movies. 2 of them are Ari Aster. The other one is that movie, and it is so fucking scary. The end is so terrible. Not the American version, the other one, which is in English, and the main line at the end when they're like, why are you doing this to us?
Because you let me.
Because you let me.
Funny Games was the other one.
Funny Games.
That was hard to watch. That's a hard
Funny
one to watch.
Games. Yes.
But it's just
hard watch. Because
oh my God, I broke my eggs.
You
Can I
know
have
the
some more?
feeling,
It's like, sure, you just don't want to be rude. You don't want to like, it's you know, like how would I be to like let somebody like go home and drive drunk?
Okay, but doesn't this kind of stand in like total opposition to like just ask someone for something?
You're right, but like also when I ask people for things, like I don't also like sell them on the like, well, how else will I get home? It just seems like you need some help with this. Can I? And I stand.
You're not putting them in a
like,
weird bad position.
It's never like I never guilt people into stuff. Like you're totally like you are totally right, and there is a touche there. But you know, when you just ask for something like, oh, like if the guy just said, you know, any chance I could stay at your place, like no hard feelings. If not, like,
yeah,
you know, I'll figure something out. Hey, don't worry about me. I'm an adult. Like
that's how it should have gone.
You know what? Worst case scenario, there's a Motel 6. Like,
and when he kept pushing, that's where that is where the mask is slipping, and you can see that this isn't about him needing a place to crash.
I mean, like. You can still live in that, and that he's just like kind of a clueless dude, but he's not. He's missing the social cues that like this is a weird thing to ask for. It's a weird thing to push for, and it comes off really presumptive. Like it's at best, at worst, it's like
forceful.
Yeah, and like I could probably see it as like a situation of someone who, you know, just didn't plan well and, you know, thought like was presumptive, because I think there is like. I feel like guys just kind of, especially like, you know, that 27-ish age, like.
But where does that come from? Like, where does that come from? They're getting laid every time? Like, where does it come from? Is it just a blind hope? Is it just like, I hope so, because I do not have another plan?
Like, I don't know. But like, have you ever had, and this would happen when I was like younger, but like, let's split an Uber home, and the guy just gets out of the Uber with you. And you're like, no, I thought we were splitting the, like, you can go next. Like,
oh no, like, I don't think I have. Oh my God, that's
I love the You Up podcast, but like they were like talking about that, where they were like, it's the assumed close, and like,
yeah,
there is nothing bad is meant by it, but like, Jesus Christ, it comes off like very,
it's
presumptive.
It sucks because like I have been. I mean, now not as much. I feel like I'm a huge bitch now. Because of the you know, early 20s experience of like finding yourself in coercive situations and then being like, am I the crazy one? Am I the bitch? Am I the crazy one? Am I the, like, what would any other woman in my position do? I guess I should probably do what he's telling me to do, because he's telling me every other woman would do this, and I don't, and it just doesn't settle
and
right.
He looks at you like, why wouldn't you say yes?
I don't want to be the like, I don't want to be the high maintenance one, the one that's a problem. Yeah, and I want him to like me. And so, oh my God, I feel like I experienced that up until probably like 27. Honestly, 27 is really when I was like, all right, I pretty much know how this works. Like, if your stomach, let me just say this. This is something I'm learning very strongly as a 30-year-old woman. If you are in a situation, I guess I'm speaking mainly to women, girls. If you're in a situation and your stomach gets that lurch and is like, it just doesn't feel right. Even like the gut feeling, I feel like is too strong of a term for it. Even if it's just like he says something and it just doesn't quite like, and you're wondering, I'm being sensitive. And he's telling you you're being sensitive. Promise you, a whole lot of other women would feel the exact same way, which means that it's not you. It's not you inventing this feeling to cause a problem.
You get the little voice for a reason. And it's interesting. Like I always recommend to everyone to read The Gift of Fear.
So good.
But just that weird little gut feeling, that instinct is there for a reason. Like,
but when people say gut feeling, I feel like that sounds more mysterious, because I've always been like, well, I don't have a gut feeling because I just like talk myself, you know, I'm
whatever
like,
you want to call it, that weird, the little voice, like the pit, the
little voice is just your body saying like, that didn't feel good. What you just said, that didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I can't exactly put my finger on why. Maybe I can. Maybe I couldn't put it articulately in words. But like, wow, that made me feel like shit. That he just said that, or he just did that.
Exactly. Like, if you have anything like that, there's a reason for it. I also think like anyone who's listening to this podcast, most people who are like fiddling around on TikTok, like you are not in a mental institution. You are alive. You've gotten this far in life. Like nothing killed you from being stupid.
Yeah.
If you have a feeling,
Mm-hmm.
you have it for a reason. You're probably not alone.
Right.
Like it's
you are probably not
alone.
alone. Honestly, TikTok has taught me that because women will come on and tell their story, or Reddit or anything, you know, where they come on and they're basically like, am I the asshole? Am I crazy? And all of the comments, it'll be, you know, an anecdote from a woman who's 55 and tells her story and says, don't do what I did. This is the exact same situation. This is how I handled it. This is how I wish I had handled it.
Yeah.
And you will have like tons of people just validating that feeling because they would have felt the same way.
No one has had a unique experience. And I think this applies to men too. I think like men are less likely to go on a date and worry about the woman across from them murdering them. Like that is just not a factor that they worry about. Like even if you had the craziest of chicks, like she probably couldn't kill you. But like I feel like, you know, men have issues where it's maybe the illusion of a woman, and it's, you know, someone maybe trying to beat you up, and it looks like a hot girl, but it's, you know, a guy who wants to get you to come to his house, and maybe it's a little too good to be true. Why does it feel that way? Probably because it is, and it's someone that's looking to harm you.
Sure. And I also want to be clear that like it's not the concern here, I think, with this one. Like, it's not like, oh, he's going to murder me or he's going to hurt me or even he's going to R-word me. You know, like, it's more just like this horrible, icky feeling of coercion.
Yeah, like
he's going to get mad.
I didn't actively choose this.
I didn't
invite him to sleep
and
over.
He's getting mad at me. He's getting angry, and I'm gonna have to kind of like have to push him off and no until I finally have to set the boundary and say no and make it uncomfortable. And now it's a whole problem that it feels like I created.
Like if you continue, it's like how else is this gonna? This is us on the first date. How is this gonna show up elsewhere?
Mostly it's you, and sometimes it is a safety issue. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it is a huge safety issue.
I think treat everything like it's a safety issue.
Totally,
but
like a lot of times, you know, hinge dating, it isn't a safety issue. It's just like, this sucks and made me feel bad about myself. And I'm thinking about it for weeks, and it's affecting the way that I'm going forward, you know?
Yeah. And like, that's how because I see this, and I had a like similar situation happen and weigh in on this. So my very dearest friend, Ashley, who is, I always say she's the godmother of this podcast. She's never made an appearance, but it was her that said that talking is if you're not in a relationship with someone, you're just talking, and that started a whole fight, and that's why I have the TikTok account I have to prove her wrong.
That's right.
But when we were roommates, it was like when COVID hit. It was like not right when COVID hit, but it was the summer, 2020, and she is now happily engaged and getting married to somebody who is wonderful. But she was trying to go on a date with someone she met on Hinge. It was someone, I feel like people in Austin have this issue with people in Killeen, like that are at the army base.
Yeah.
But it was a guy from and he said ahead of time, like, yeah, like I've got a bunch of friends in Austin, and like, you know, let's. It was when like restaurants and bars were opening back up, so their plan was like, let's go grab a drink, and then I think it was more normalized to like have a date at your house and stuff. And so everything was going fine. And then we had like friends in town. It was Chris Johnston and his friend. Like he was staying at his friend like Bryce's house or something. And so like they were like coming to hang out with us, and like they were like with me, and Ashley was like, me and my date are coming back to the apartment, and so like we're like playing music, and like the guy he seemed fine. And then like right away she's like, oh yeah, like you can make yourself a drink, and I was like, yeah, here's the bar cart. And then we were kind of just like having fun, and I think like the guy was kind of like, he was kind of being quiet, but we just figured he was a quiet guy. And then when we like looked over, we're like, that's an empty bottle of Jack Daniels. Like that bottle, like he had drank my whole bottle of Jack Daniels. And so like, I was like, Ashley, like you didn't, she's like, no, I didn't want him sleeping over or something. And so she was like, hey, like, you know, like I'm getting kind of tired. And he was like, oh, like, I don't know where to go. Like a situation kind of like that. Like, I don't know how much they talked about it ahead of time, but like she did say like, what about the friends that you have here? Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't be going on dates with people from freaking Killeen. Like if I didn't know they had a safety net of sorts. And he was like, oh, and so like, I think what we did, was, we made Chris and Bryce like be like, come on, like the girls are tired, we've got to go home, like, and kind of like usher him out. And they pretended they went home, and we like hung out with them and like went to drink somewhere. But Ashley was kind of like, that was very presumptive. And she was like, what do you
do you think he drove home?
I don't know. I think like
which again is
I think she was
not
kind of
your
like,
responsibility.
we also just didn't see him like go and raid my bar cart, which like
right.
If we had saw that like ahead of time, like it was kind of we would have been like, what are you doing? Like,
hey,
so I think that alone was kind of like,
whoa, the Jack.
I think we wanted him out of the house because like he drank that very quickly, and like we were kind of like, what else is he gonna do? I think we were kind of in our minds we're like, what's he gonna do? Like hurt us? Like we were more worried about him stealing our stuff.
Yeah,
because he was just like being
sketchy, you know.
But, like,
and a stranger. That's the other thing is like you don't know this person.
Yeah,
you don't know this. This is a total stranger, and like I think, I mean, I don't know. When men do this to women, it's just so. The aura is so threatening because honestly, I don't think that these men, Ashley's Day and the one from this submission, like I don't think that, or I don't necessarily believe that they went into this being like,
no, I think
I'm going to drink myself.
I think they
to
were just
oblivion.
I want to date hot girl. Go. I think could have a plan. I'll figure it out.
I think it's all figured out. I think that's a problem for drunk me.
If you're gonna operate on I'll figure it out, like you also have to have an I'll figure it out wallet and be okay with crap. Like there's a because I think like that would have solved both. Like if you're gonna be that person, you gotta
have an I'll figure it out wallet. That's so real, but so many type B people do not understand but like, that concept.
And it's like, you know, when Buddy first came to visit me, he had a hotel reservation in his back pocket that he didn't tell me about, but it just in case something was weird, he had a hotel reservation. It's like
perfect.
If you want to like do these sort of like, I want to broaden my horizons, you know, whatever, go to a different area, I'll figure it out. Like what if like, and you have to be okay with that, and then you can't have like any hard feelings for it. Like you can't feel like, oh, like she like led me on or something. Like you chose to make your dating app location a different area.
Yes.
Like literally, like if especially if someone is telling you, oh, whoa, wait, you live outside the city. Like I don't know. Like, oh wait, I'll come to you. Like if you're gonna do that, you have to like own that decision. Like either like have an actual plan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that is. If you're going to do that, you have to also do that.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes. But I feel like, I mean, reading this submission, you read it and you're like, oh, fuck, that guy's horrible. I feel like I can think of maybe like 2 or 3 really similar instances I've had in my life. I think it's pretty common.
I think these things just happen with young people who are just used to like crashing on couches and stuff like that. Like sometimes it's just like I don't know, if you've ever been to a music festival, you run into those types. Like what is it, the wooks who just like show up with nothing and just like fall on people's couches, and that's just how they go through life. Like freeloader types.
Wait, that definitely, and like using that time to attach themselves to you. Yeah, I mean, I have like festival stories. That's it. I mean, there's drugs involved. That's fucking tough. But I just remember like, I remember literally in college having situations. There's one guy in particular who kind of did this to me where it was like, oh, we hung out and then he insisted on coming back to my dorm room and then was just like, too fucked up to get out of bed, too drunk, and just couldn't. And like my man was, you know, settled himself there. He also did some other weird stuff to me, but and he was, I remember he was kind of like the popular hot guy, like freshman year of college, and me being like, well, I definitely don't want him going around being like, oh, that's that frigid bitch. Like I wanted to be the cool girl because I was 19 or 18.
Never do the cool girl thing.
As 18. Oh, I wanted to be. Oh, that was peak cool girl era. Okay, that was 2013. And I have no access to like other women's thoughts and experiences, and cool girl was it. I had to be the coolest girl.
Mm-hmm. It was before Gone Girl even came out, so.
Yeah, idiot. Fucking idiot, dude. Oh my God. When I think about it, it's so humiliating. But I also, you know, a lot of girls that I knew and hung out with were also cool male-centered girls.
Yeah.
But anyway, this man that all of this happened with, he ended up getting pretty gnarly canceled. Oh my God, this son of a bitch. And he was a problem for his next 4 years. And I remember being like, wow, I wanted to be the cool girl for him. For him so bad. I probably screwed so many women after me because he thought that was acceptable behavior. He thought like, oh, I can get away with this. This will work. This method will work when I coerce someone.
Yeah.
It's not forcing. I didn't hold her down. I didn't put drugs in her drink. But I pushed until she felt too embarrassed to say no.
Yeah. I do think like nothing ever teaches anyone anything. Like I think you can do everything right. And like
true.
I think for someone to actually learn something, they have to be a genuine person, like truly trying.
Yeah.
And like, if it seems like he'll just do the same thing to this person, which kind of brings me to the next listener question, or this is actually a Reddit one, which is more generic. And I feel like you might have some really fun answers to this.
Reading it or me?
I'll read this one because I want to hear you respond first. Okay. Has telling an ex off ever fixed things? Let's say things end with someone, doesn't matter who ended it, and in that breakup discussion, you were nicer to them than they deserve from your perspective. Instead of telling them the ways they hurt you, you made it feel mutual and kind and blameless. But later, you thought about the hurtful things they did to you that you let slide for whatever reason, avoiding conflict probably, that you never brought up, and they may not even realize they did. Did going back after a breakup, and we can use breakup loosely, like this can be a serious breakup or like, hey, I just don't see this working out after a few dates.
You're not going to like my
Do you ever go back after a breakup and did going back after a breakup and telling someone how they did something wrong that hurt you, did it make you feel better and did it fix anything? Or did it just make things worse? Do you regret having done it?
Interesting. So I will say this. And you can tell me how you feel about this statement. Okay. I think this is pretty generic. It is gendered, but I don't think it's like gendered in a bad way. I think women respond to talk and communication. Men are more like action driven. So when they say, men don't respond to words. They respond to actions. Men speak with their actions. I think that is incredibly true. And I think that when a woman yells at a man, tries to say her piece, get a whole point across, send a brick of text, whatever, does that to him, it's like the teacher yelling at the unruly class. Yeah. It's not working. And he now, like, I almost feel like that, like, feeds their ego a little bit. I think it probably mostly has the opposite effect. You could say some real zingers. You could say some real painful shit. But if you really want to get them, speak with your actions. That's what I have to say.
What is the action you would recommend speaking with? You don't to just say that in a coy little
psychological voice. And chemical warfare.
What is that?
I feel like you can do a lot more.
With what?
To get back at your ex.
So are we talking about getting back or telling someone off? Because I think there's
telling someone off.
Telling someone off isn't getting back at someone. I don't think it's very direct. Like getting back at someone is making them feel. I don't know. Which we also have to go like elaborate on how do we define telling someone off? But go ahead. Sorry.
How do you define telling someone off?
I don't know. So,
because to me, I mean, when I think about my exes, girl, oh my God, yeah, one of them, all of them actually, I don't think like saying anything, communicating anything verbally would make a dent. I probably wouldn't even go in all the way. All they would register is like, oh, she's mad at me. She's thinking about me. That's how I feel. So I think it's actually so much more powerful. And quote me on this. It is so much more powerful to ignore someone. And you won't regret it, like, later on. I think a lot of times if you tell someone off or if you end it and you try to be amicable and you try to be too nice and blah, 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 that you end up regretting that. You work it over in your head and you're like, wow, how could I have done this different? Like, this is so, I handled that so dumb. I wish I had done it this way. That it ended up, if you tell someone off or get mad at someone, it ends up biting you in the ass later. It is so much cooler and funnier and hotter to say nothing at all and literally you forgot about them.
I think it depends.
You forgot about them. They did not affect you.
I think there's a lot of different ways people are looking at it. Like, if you're looking at it as like, because I think a lot of people think of like, what makes me win the breakup? Like, they think of their situation as though there's an audience. Like, if I do something that looks crazy, everyone will know and think I'm the crazy one who cares more. I think like we have to throw that aside. Like, we're not doing who wins the breakup, who looks cool, who's cooler, what will they think. It's about you. I think telling someone off is a weird way to describe things, because I think there is telling someone off, which is maybe that is rehashing details, being louder, just being meaner for the sake of it. And then there is saying the things that you need to say that you didn't feel like you got to say. Like, those are two different things to me. Because I guess like the situation I could like like a one that I could like bring up is like, when I had like, gosh, this would have been 4 or 5 years ago. It was a situation where, like, I remember it was the 4th of July. It was a guy I had been like on several dates with, and he had like been very excited. It was somebody that he was like, I posted a picture of the two of us together on the 4th of July because he was like, this is going to be it. And then I had to delete it 20 minutes later. This was the most embarrassing moment in my life.
This shit still pisses me the fuck off.
It pisses me the fuck off. And it also makes me mad because like all my friends at the time are like, it's not a big deal. And now they're like, that was bad. I'm like, you didn't fucking tell me it was bad at the time, you fucking lying ass bitch. And we said this, and I was like, okay, cool. We have done our 4th of July thing for the day with our friends, and like we'd taken separate cars, and I was like, okay, come on over. Like, I was super excited. Like, it was 6 o'clock, and then it's like, oh yeah, so like, by the way, I don't think, and I'm like, are you fucking like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
And okay, remind me. So you had gone to this 4th of July thing. You guys had been talking for how long? Like
we had been going on dates and dating.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
for 2 months, and we knew each other previously. So it was like
2 months.
I know I was direct because like my friends were, well, what did you? I'm like, I did. This wasn't a hint thing. It was like, I'm here for this. Like, I was stupidly direct. Like, I had already started making like little TikTok videos like very early on, and so like I was
before you posted, you like asked him, right? You had like talked about this.
And he was like, I post pictures of us all the time. Like, it was just weird.
But it was a hard post was the difference. It wasn't a story post. It was a hard post.
It was a happy
4th of July, just the two of them standing together. Like,
it looked like a couple picture, which is what he like. And then I get home, he's like,
it's a hard launch.
It was a hard launch. Yeah. And so like, so I get this text and I was just like, I deleted everything. I'm like, what if we weren't doing that, what were we doing? Like, what was that? And and so then he starts saying like, he's like, it's okay. Like, well, I'm sure this is what you want to hear. And then anytime someone tells me, I'm sure this is what you want to hear, I tell them to shut the fuck up, because that is and I was like, you're being kind of patronizing. Like, let's not have this conversation right now. And like, I called friends and I like did other stuff, but then like, and I don't think I said enough.
Did you delete it immediately?
Yes.
How fast did you delete it?
Yes. So that the picture was deleted the second this conversation was happening. It was separate. But then that person, like probably like midway through the week, in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, how could I let myself be so embarrassed? Like, what? Like, how could I have prevented this? Like, in my mind, I'm like, I did everything. I did everything right. Like, I felt like I was crazy. And then like halfway through the week, the guy just texts like, hey, like, so I was just thinking the other day, I feel really bad that it like hurt your feelings, but like the thing that like, I think it was like a bike. He's like, you wanted to put together, like, I can come by and help, and like we can just still hang out and be friends. Like, just talking in we terms of like, we can still be friends, like we can still hang out, like it's okay, everything's great. And I was like, he needs like a very firm, like, this is not a friendly thing, like. And so that, like, I didn't tell.
That's so playing in your face.
So I didn't tell him off per se, but like I did say like, what you did is not okay. Like, do you realize what you did? And so of course I had some choice words in there, but it was very much like we're not going to be pals.
Yeah.
Like this is done.
Okay, but this is kind of in the, triggered this conversation. Like, he's the one who.
Yeah, but so this is like a tell the person, like, but like you could call that telling someone off, but like instead of being like, oh, like I'm just gonna like ignore it, like he knew that he was not welcome to come reach out and that things weren't hunky-dory if he ever reached out to me. Like, if he wants to come talk to me, he's gotta be like, there's gotta be a reason, and like he's gonna know like things are not okay. And so like I think that sort of, I don't want to say telling someone off, but just saying your piece and like, this was not an okay thing to do. Like, because if you don't do that, sometimes people do come back. Like, you hear stuff about like people and like exes where it's like the guy's just like, everything's great, we're cool. It's like, no, we're not. Like, you kind of need a person to know like, we're not cool. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Especially because if you're like on the receiving end of like bad news, like you're kind of flustered, like you're not prepared to respond in the right way. Maybe you haven't asked all the questions or said like, whoa, wait a second. So maybe it seems like things are cooler or chiller than you are. Or they choose an inappropriate time to like tell you this information. And like, so this sort of like, hey, like FYI, get the fuck out of my life is kind of helpful. Like but it's not like a tell someone off. It's a, it's like a, hey, like you are not welcome here anymore.
Yeah.
And then I think there's also just,
Yeah. So they're not living in their little delusion land thinking like,
friends.
This girl, she'll lay down and die for me anytime I like.
No, the fuck I won't.
I can walk away and then come right back and she'll come running up like a little raccoon eating out of my hand. Yeah.
Like, so I think that is a thing. I think like also like sometimes, and I think people do this intentionally to avoid difficult conversations. Sometimes people on the receiving ends of breakups don't expect to be broken up with often. Like they haven't mentally prepared themselves for it the way the dumper has. And like sometimes dumpers are like kind of skeevy people who pick times and places that make it hard for the person on the receiving end to react appropriately or say their piece. And like, I think if you feel like you didn't get to say what you needed to say, and like you're just like, oh, you're so flustered, everything seems great, like I think going back and saying your piece, like saying how you feel because you did not get a chance to do that, is okay. Like I think that is different from telling someone off. Like I think telling someone off can just be like hurling insults for no reason,
telling
saying
someone
something
off could
you've
be
already
like
said.
2 months after breaking up, texting him and be like, bullet point 1.
Exactly.
I don't like how your mom talks to me.
Exactly. Two different things. So I think like there is some value in doing that. I wouldn't call that telling someone off.
Yeah.
And then of course it's like, why didn't I say the damn thing? I think you should never go into that with the idea that like you are gonna get like, don't never do it with the idea that you're hoping for some sort of response, because you'll end up disappointed. Like if you're going into it being like, they're gonna realize they like me, and then you don't get that response, you're gonna be upset. If you think that they're going to like say they're sorry or you're going to get an apology, you probably will, like they're probably going to stare at you and just look at you. Like you can't go into, like you have to be okay with whatever the response is. And you have to also tell yourself like it's probably, because if you yell at someone, they're going to like you less. Like if you're going in there being like, they'll see what they missed. No, they're not. Like you have to like, this is something you do when you want someone to get away from you and stay away from you.
Yeah.
Not like, this is not your Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I would have to agree. It's, but there's something so good about just.
There's also like, I think
being
there's
like,
something to be
listen, you dumb bitch. I love a little, but then you regret it. Then you always regret it.
I think there's a version you don't regret though. I think there's sometimes people just, I never got to say the thing. Like they thought they were just a great person who walked along through life, who didn't realize that, like, no, you want to screw someone over. You should kind of like know that someone saw and noticed and it wasn't okay. Like, I don't know. But like, yeah, like I think there's also just, I'm a big believer that no one can give you closure. You have to go and get it for yourself. And by that, I mean like my closure is like saying all the things I needed to say before parting ways forever. Like not just like sitting on these thoughts and like, I never got to say it, blah, blah, blah. Like, so some part of that is closure, but I don't think you should look at it as telling someone off. I don't think you should go into it with like hopes that it will provoke something. Like
I feel like if they
go into it as though they're going to just sit there and look at you.
Yeah.
And think that everything is okay exactly the way it is.
Yeah. If they are imposing their own ego onto you, then you have the floor to humble them, I feel.
Yep.
you can be like,
you can never expect to humble someone.
Yeah, the whole like, I'm sure this isn't what you want to hear, and I'm sure blah 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 blah. To be like, sorry.
That's the thing you can't. But that's the
you?
thing, like usually
you,
someone
honey?
says, but if that's usually though, that's the reason like people want to go and tell someone off is because in the moment you don't respond to that. Like I like in my like I say this now, like if someone were like, I'm sure there's someone here and they talk to you like a soccer coach, like for a 6-year-old who lost their soccer game, like I'm here like I would kick that person in the jaw. In real life, when I've gotten a version of that, I'm just kind of like, oh, I was just expecting to talk to you about this and you throw this at me and I didn't get to say this thing and tell you what a fucking idiot you are. And so now I need to go back and do it. So that is like, it's arguments you win in the shower. I don't know.
True.
There's so many situations I wish like I've won so many freaking arguments in the shower.
I know. It sucks looking. Yeah, Charlotte has a really hang up on her.
I hold grudges like
8th grade history teacher. We can't even get into it because we're at time, and Charlotte will literally, she could talk about this for 6 fucking hours.
I haven't told that man what a fucking piece of shit he is, and he should know. He needs to know. He's gonna die thinking he's a good person.
She has it mapped out.
He'll probably die in like 5 years. He's like 80. But he's walking through this earth thinking, I'm this great person. I'm retired. Everyone likes me. I was a great teacher. No, you're a fucking piece of shit. I've written as an exercise for therapy.
I know, but I've read it, your therapy exercise, and I know you have damn near come on up to hitting send. You've been
I found the email
close to hitting send on that email. So if you sent him that email and then he seized and died of cardiac arrest,
I would think that's just like timing because he would die. Like I don't think it would kill him.
I think that wasn't me.
I think
not my fault.
I think like. When I've actually discussed like what would be the result of sending this, like I think the actual result would be like, just like, and I think this is the case with anyone. I truly believe the person who hates me in the most in this world, it wouldn't even. I have not thought about them. I think that is the case with most people. Like the person that really, really gets under your skin, they're just walking through life. They have no idea how much it bothers you. And I think that is the case. Like I truly believe, like the person who like hates, I hope there's no one that's like walking who's like, I fucking hate that bitch, but like, I hope that doesn't exist. I'm sure there is a person that I'm sure there are people who hate me.
So funny.
And I think
that's so real, huh?
And I would say that's the case for anyone. Like the same way, like when I think of my 8th grade history teacher, next on the list are other random, you would say random adults who were like a lot of them were like Professor Umbridge types, like those. A lot of teachers, like my bullies growing up, were my teachers.
Sickly sweet. I remember that being a but like, description. Sickly sweet.
A lot of those, or it's like people that like had power and just like just
and
people,
you're like so evil.
But like people like and I have no doubt like whoever, I think that they have no idea. They're just they've gone through life. It was for them. It was a Tuesday, and for me, it was a really traumatic experience. I don't know.
Whoa.
I feel like I've gotten meta here. And
actually, that's awesome. Damn, you can really take solace in the fact that you have ops and haters that you don't even know or care about.
I mean, you probably do too.
Yeah, hell yeah, I got ops.
If that is you, like, I'm truly sorry for what anything. Like, I would never intend to hurt anybody. And if you listen, if you're hate listening, you've gotten this far. I will say that you are a fan at this point. But like, if you want to like write me a letter about how much of a dumb cunt I am, like. I'll read it. I think that's cool. I've done it before.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But I think this is our time.
I guess it is.
Anyway.
Over.
Thanks all for coming.
Thank you. Yay. Bye. Ciao.